We hope everyone's having a fantastic day. From time to time, we get calls from members asking about different types of arrangements and if it could potentially be a legal violation. So today we're going to talk about one of those arrangements that came up in the last couple of weeks. A company had contacted one of our doctor's offices and just asked if they were accepting new personal injury patients. Of course, this doctor said yes, not a problem, and so they sent over a handful of patients pretty quickly over the course of a couple of months. At the end of the couple of months, they ended up contacting the doctor and said, "Hey, we need to know, are you working with us or are you not?" Of course, the doctor didn't know exactly what they were talking about, asked him for additional details, asked him for more information, whatever the case might be. And the company responded and said, here's what we would like to do. We want to make sure that of all the collections that you take in on the patients that we refer over to you, we get 35%. We also want to make sure that you know that we're working with the attorneys and also with you as the physician. We'll all three get together and collaborate on what this will look like and what potential settlement would be and how much each person gets in each one of the cases. Well, of course, there are a number of violations that come up in this, and so really we're just giving you a bit of a warning that if you were to be contacted by a company like this, just understand the different levels of potential infractions that could be included in an arrangement like this. First of all, when you contract with a company like this, you've got to know that they would be soliciting. So they would be marketing to a targeted group, and that is one of the things that is specifically prohibited in the Medical Practice Act, and therefore would be a violation and potentially be a disciplinary action on your license. So one is solicitation. The second is a bit more flagrant and obvious to everybody, which is the fee splitting provision where they're taking that portion. The last is when you have these three parties, one of which really isn't a party to the treatment and to the representation of the patient and client, but instead they're coming in from the outside to kind of negotiate this process and the amounts of money they're going to be traded. And at the end of the day, although you would be able to negotiate with an attorney directly in regards to your lien and your bill, that's a completely different scenario than what we're talking about here when you begin to involve other organizations into that process that aren't necessarily a party. Then at that stage, most likely would be deemed to be unprofessional conduct, yet another violation of the Medical Practice Act. So we have solicitation, fee splitting, and potentially a violation of the provision that prohibits unprofessional conduct. And so just beware when you get these types of calls that not only do you have that as far as violations are concerned, but these are the types of cases that we begin to see come up in fraud type cases. In fact, there was recently a case down in Florida where a few DCs were involved, and we've seen them in other various locations as well. It's a bit of a challenge, and we just give you caution. Sometimes if it does sound too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. We'll catch you next week. Take care.